What is it about plastic surgery and facelifts? What is your sense of that whole world?
Well, if you had the ceiling falling down in your living room, would you not go and have a repair?
Hi there, this is Nicholas Casamia, and I'm here with acclaimed photographer and probably one of the most important photographers of the 20th and 21st century, Timothy Greenfield-Sanders.
Modeling doesn't have anything to do with self-confidence. Working off of your looks makes you pretty much the opposite of self-confident. So maybe I became beautiful once I stopped modeling.
As you grow old, you don't count anymore. For sure, my social status has diminished because I know I'm not invited to the A parties anymore. My daughter is.
Are women harder on themselves, and is society harder on women?
Sure, I think society is harder on women. Men can do almost anything they want and age gracefully and graciously, I guess. I was thinking of doing a film on men, on the supermodels who were men, but they're not as interesting, and there aren't that many great ones, really.
Well, I was going to ask you that.
It's a women's world.
It is a women's
Absolutely.
world.
It's similar to when I did the project on the porn world. That was a world that was really very much a woman's world as well. The men were accessories, really.
Your XXX book is probably one of the most kind of renowned, esteemed books about the adult film world out there. Because it had portraits of various straight and gay porn stars, clothed and then unclothed. What was the reaction of that book? Really, are you still reeling from it?
A lot of people told me I shouldn't even do it because it would ruin my reputation as a photographer. I've photographed every American president, I've photographed a lot of very distinguished people, but it didn't, to me, it didn't make sense, that kind of critique. I thought these are the people who are the top of their profession. They're the best at fucking, but they're still the best at it. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was like, this would be a fascinating world to see as real people, not as porn stars. And that's how I approached it. I included gay people in that, and gay porn stars.
Exactly.
And at the time, it was looked upon by even the publishers, questioned it. And I said, no, this is part of this view of sexuality. We're going to absolutely have gay people in it. It'll be a bigger market for the book. Mm-hmm. I was probably wrong. It probably would have been a bigger market if it was just straight girls,
right?
Or just girls. But it was such a fabulous book, and I had Gore Vidal writing the introduction to it, and Salman Rushdie wrote for it, and it was an examination of porn, and you can't examine porn without discussing gay porn. It's there.
These weren't just images to jerk off to.
Right.
They were images that were sort of actually very thoughtful and very tasteful. And even though there was like Chad Hunt's big dick, which is still emblazed in my mind, and he's like the plainest looking man in the world.
Right, lovely guy.
Lovely guy.
Yeah.
Was that weird for you to sort of be in this kind of?
At first it was a little weird, but then when you start to photograph porn stars, you realize very quickly that they're more comfortable nude, mm-hmm. and that they want to show you their stuff. Wow. So I became very cool about it. I mean, it was nothing to say, okay, let's take your clothes off now, because that's what they do. And it was actually kind of fun. I mean, it was great.
So, I'm curious about this, because this is one thing I'm always curious about everything.
Chad was surprising. I mean, it's huge.
Enormous.
Enormous.
Do you prefer working on your own or having an assignment?
At this point, I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm making a film on gay rights. I'm making a women's list film. I have a kind of crazy film about UFOs. We won't talk about that right now.
Okay. Okay. We won't talk about the UFO film, but you mentioned the gay film you're working on. Yeah. What exactly is it?
It's part of the list series, so the Black List, the Latino list that I did, and we're doing Latino Volume 2 is coming out this September on HBO. And then we started an LGBT list that is a kind of a very wide cross-section of gay rights today.
So the idea is to do another book and another documentary about...
Yeah, it's interviews, straight-to-camera interviews, like the List series, of people like Ellen DeGeneres and Larry Kramer and Dustin Lance Black, Janet Mock, Jake Shears, on and on. Very interesting people.
So you're looking for most eclectic, like the most, not just necessarily the most famous.
Right. It's not easy. If you had to sit down and say, here are the 15 people that I would put in a film about gay rights today, who would those 15 be, and how do you keep it kind of even men and women and some diversity within that? It's not an easy task. It's very easy to just pick famous people.
Who would you like to photograph? Is there anyone you've always wanted to? I mean, you've probably been asked this a million times.
They're dead, you know. I really wanted to photograph Brando. At one point he was saying, well, I was kind of complimenting him. And I was saying things like, you know, you're the greatest actor in the world. And he said, that's ridiculous. Who would say something like that? And I said, well, when I was young, I knew Tennessee Williams, and Tennessee always told me, Marlon Brando's the greatest actor in the world.
Wow.
So when that kind of stopped him, he said, oh, really? Well,
You knew Tennessee Williams?
I did, yeah.
How did you know Tennessee Williams?
Because my family's from Key West, and I have family there still, and I would go down in my teens to go fishing, and Tennessee was a friend of my uncle's. We'd have dinner with him all the time.
Did he bust moves on you?
He did a little bit.
Really?
When I was about 12, he would hold my hand and try and read my palm. But I didn't know what it meant at the time. You know, I was like a little blonde 12-year-old, so.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.